Heathrow Airport, 6 AM. It's my first time back here since I did that week-long shift last year. This might be the earliest I've ever got to Heathrow Airport, and you can see just the sheer amount of cabs joining me. This must be the optimum time to start. Pretty busy up here. This is like the shift if you're going to work Heathrow. You've got to get here at 6. Just so happens my friend who's going back to the States, who was staying with us, had to get a ride to Heathrow. So do an altruistic move, but also get myself out of bed early to come here. It was a struggle to wake up this morning. I can do a bit of work, sat here in the rain. Let's see how long it takes. I'm not here for long before the rest of the lines of this park fill up, taking just over 1 hour before I'm moving off and into the South Park. I finally park up in the South at 7:15. I've gone and topped up my tag. You might remember this. It's a card that goes inside of this little reader thing here that lets me in the park, lets me on the ranks. The gate fee has gone down now. It's £1 a time. I can't remember what it was last time I done the video. You have to top up a minimum of £10, and there was already about a £5 on there. So I just bought another £10 worth. At the rate I come to Heathrow will probably last me for like another 10 years. I've got 15 goes to get through this park, basically. But whilst I'm saving on the gate fee, there's a shocking realisation. My meter hasn't updated. The meter company gets authorisation to make that little SIM card that you put in there that has the preloaded tariff that has been set by Transport for London. However, mine is still on this red one. I believe they're blue now. And if I press that button, that should be starting at £4.20. But if I get a job into town, I could be about £5 worse off just on that one job alone. In itself, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but across the course of a day, massive difference. Even just the starting fare, 40p, if you somehow did 20 jobs in a day, that's £8 a day. Add that up over the course of the week, makes a massive difference. So at some point, maybe today's shift, I've got to go to Brewery Road and go get that done. Don't know why mine didn't update. I had the SIM card put in there, but just after 8 o'clock, you can see people to the right of me moving. That means my line's off. So 2 hours to get out of the park. That's not bad timing. We'll see what we get into town. I'm hoping if I get one into town, I can turn around and come back here. We'll see what we get first. Fingers crossed. After a couple of hours wait total, I eventually get dispatched to Terminal 2. This is one of my favourites because it's the quickest terminal to get to. You can also see that the traffic is building up quite heavy for Terminal 3, so that could have added a bit of time.
So 1, 2, 3, take my hand and come with me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine.
First job to Stockley Park. There's a perimeter around Heathrow that classifies as the local zone. Basically, if I can take a job, drop it off within that local zone and return to any terminal within 60 minutes, I don't have to go back through that giant feeder park that I've started off with this morning. So I can go straight back to the terminal. So we'll bear this in mind because this becomes important a bit later on. On the way out, I can see there's a bit of traffic trying to get to the airport. So I'll be mindful of that when I come back to the airport in a minute. Comply by the roundabout. We leave that by Stockley Road. Comply by the roundabout, leave by Stockley Road. And then leave that for the Stockley Park roundabout. Leave by Bennettsfield Road. I'm literally looking at this on a map. I have no idea what these roads are. And onto Roundwood Avenue and into the business that she's after. It's basically a giant business park with some big brands based there. It's quite quick and easy to get there. So presumably this is some top flying exec that's just flown in and straight to work. Very nice. Dropping her there just after 8:30. I do sometimes feel like a fraud when I'm at Heathrow because a lot of it is just sat-nav out. Because not only can the destinations be a bit different, I have zero perception of what the traffic is going to be like in this area at this time of day. And getting back to the airport within 60 minutes is quite important. Now, as this is the closest local journey of my shift today, I have plenty of time on the drive back in to celebrate the birthday of Y-Food. Y-Food are a ready-to-drink meal. So inside of every one of these bottles is 500 calories, 34 grams of protein, all within the most tastiest, dreamy milkshake-like experience. As part of their celebrations, Y-Food are giving you massive discounts. If you've not tried Y-Food, now is the best time to stock up, because on their website until the 27th, they have up to 30% off site-wide. But if you use my discount code, which is taxi-YouTube, or the link in the description down below, you will get a further 5% off of those already discount prices. Go nuts with that, because they're going big for their birthday. Stock up on all the flavours. Thanks to Y-Food for sponsoring this video. And now let's try and get back to the airport. I still put the sat nav on, and it actually gives me a little bit of a route that avoids that M4 spur road that I spotted earlier. We're going to be cutting through Sipson, and Sipson Road is that little road that goes over the M4 spur road. We come out near the petrol station, so we can come in by Neen Road, and I join in again via the east ramp. I'm just thinking Terminal 2, because that's the first one I can get to. And lucky for me, there doesn't seem to be too many cabs on Terminal 2. Maybe this is a bit of a morning rush at the airport. I get another local job to Hayes. Very nice. And you can see as the morning progresses, it just takes that little bit longer to get out of Heathrow. Remember, Terminals 2 and 3 are actually sandwiched in the middle of the airport itself. So the only way out is via this tunnel road. And if a lot of traffic, buses, coaches, etc. are all trying to get out of there, that causes the traffic. I shoot up the M4 spur road, but you can see in the opposite carriageway that traffic is getting even worse. This is making my 60-minute local jobs even more dicey. Now, it's all based upon traffic, because looking at it here, the route I took is actually 4 minutes slower than what I do in the shift, and leave by Shepperton Lane. Comply by the roundabout and leave by Dawley Road. Comply by another roundabout and leave by Dawley Road. Comply by another roundabout and leave by Dawley Road. You get the idea. And then from there, comply by the roundabout and I leave by Prince's Park Lane, so I can then get another roundabout and leave by Judge Heath Lane. Taking just 16 minutes to drop them off. Not bad from the morning rush. On the way back in, I'm following the sat-nav again because of that heavy traffic on the M4 spur. There is a bus lane there, but taxis are not allowed to use it, and I think you'll even get a fine if you try and attempt using it. So once again, I just wiggle through Sipson to ensure I get back to the terminal in good time. Straight in. Yes. I'm back to Terminal 2 for just after 9:30. What can I get this time round? 2 local jobs on the bounce? Surely the next one is going to be taking me into town. Let's see. Brentford. Now, Brentford is just within the local zone, but with morning traffic and trying to get out of the airport, my 60 minutes could very quickly be gobbled up. I'm going to be really efficient on this one. They're actually after Great West House, which, if you've driven out of London on the M4, you'll see it on the south side of the M4 as you drive out of town. Punching it in the sat-nav, the A4, the Old Bath Road, is actually quicker and the distance is less, so it's good for the passengers. Sometimes if you're doing this late at night, I imagine just cruising along the M4 into town because of the 70 mile an hour and then exiting off and dropping down would be the better bet. Bath Road's pretty awesome as well because you've got a bus lane along there that I can use, and it's 40 mile an hour. So as a town driver used to 20 miles an hour, 40 just seems reckless. That's nuts. Comply by Wagoners Roundabout and leave by Bath Road. Guess what? There's a lot of Bath Roads on this one. Comply by Henley's Roundabout, leave by Bath Road. And then we bear left onto Great West Road. Now you go along Great West Road and you cut off at this little bit here, which is Boston Park Road. I remember this from years ago because right next to Great West House, there's actually a small, kind of housey looking office development. I used to be a Samsung rep and I got sent to this office for some training on some sound bars or something. The postcode they give me actually misses Great West House entirely, so I have to quickly drop them here. Now, my aim here is just to get back to the terminal. Fingers crossed I've got enough time to do it. I got out here in under 30 minutes, so surely going against traffic, I should be able to get back to the terminal within 60 minutes. I come along the Bath Road, and then I can use this little taxi slip here, which brings you onto Nettleton Road. We can fly by the Neame Road roundabout, and you can see just how busy the airport has been getting. Makes me realise, though, that I don't know the actual etiquette here. Is it the drivers that have just come from the feeder park? Or is it the drivers that are coming back from a local, because they might be, you know, on a 60-minute ticket, they might be pushing it for time. If there's any Heathrow experts listening, I'd like to know your opinion. If you do want to learn a bit more about taxi etiquette, then I did make a video that's a whole deep dive into that weird and wonderful world. At 20 past 10, I'm back on the feeder, meaning that I had about 12-13 minutes to spare, so all was good. Again, it moves pretty well, and I'm straight to the front. Now, one of the best signs when you're at Heathrow Airport is if the passengers go to the rank agent and then they just walk off. The rank agent just says, yep, off you go, kind of thing. That then denotes normally that that's a job outside of the local zone, or it's not a fares fare. It's Soho. Nice. That takes me straight into the heart of the action. They get in though, and they ask for Fareham Street. I've never heard of Fareham Street, so it is a little bit of Googling to ascertain exactly where in Soho that is. And it turns out it's right by that Elizabeth line entrance, right at the top of like Soho Square kind of area. So I'm already thinking that, dependent on traffic, I might drop this up on Oxford Street. So to leave this, we just leave it by Tunnel Road West, and leave that by the M4 Spur Road. Comply by the roundabout and straight up onto the M4. Just run the M4 all the way into town, so you get the elevated section where it drops down to 40 miles an hour before it drops down to Great West Road, forward Cedars Road, forward Ellesmere Road, forward Hogarth Lane. Comply by the Hogarth roundabout, and we're going to leave that by Great West Road. Now, I get the Hammersmith flyover, but at this point, I want to start thinking about how I'm going to be getting into town. The sat-nav says that the West Cromwell Road into town is pretty heavy. So I get Talgarth Road, we're getting a left into Glidden Road. Now, if you forward that up, it becomes Edith Road. You can't actually turn right onto Hammersmith Road. So you've got to take a right Edith Road, left Oriel Road, which allows you the right onto Hammersmith Road. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come through Kensington, and I'm going to get up onto that line for Bayswater Road straight into Oxford Street, because from Bayswater Road onwards, I've got a bit of bus lane usage. I can get all the way to Oxford Street. And I'm thinking Oxford Street about 11 o'clock, I should be able to run that eastbound pretty smoothly. So Hammersmith Road, forward Hammersmith Bridge, forward into Kensington High Street. Here I cut off left into Campden Hill Road. And up there, my one of choice is Peel Street. There's speed bumps on it, but it's one way. So it means you're not going to get cars coming the other direction and getting stuck. And then from there, you can get a left out onto Kensington Church Street, right Notting Hill Gate, and forward into Bayswater Road. Forward through Lancaster Gate, forward Bayswater Road. No speed camera here on Bayswater Road. Then straight through Marble Arch, forward into Oxford Street. Keep going. Now this is actually the Monday straight after the London Marathon. So you can see there's actually a lot of people walking around with medals on. And you can see there's a huge queue of runners for New Balance on Oxford Street. Maybe they're doing some sort of giveaway, or people are buying new shoes, who knows. Forward over Oxford Circus, forward into Oxford Street. And bosh, I just drop them safely on the left here. Opposite side of the street, but plenty of space to allow people to overtake me if needed. Now I'm at a quandary here. I need to go get my meter updated, but it's about a 25-minute drive to Brewery Road from where I am on this bit of Oxford Street. I'm probably better off just continuing my shift on the lower rate. Here's why. If I go to Brewery Road, I've got to turn my meter off to ensure I get there. Now, I then get a meter update, but then I might only be earning like an extra £1 or whatever on each fare. If I just continue working, I might get a 20 quid, 25 quid job in the time it takes me to get to Brewery Road, which far outweighs getting my meter changed mid-shift. I do traverse eastbound on Oxford Street a little bit and get hailed anyway. I'm not going to turn down the job if it's there, let's face it. This job is going to Kensington High Street. So spin the taxi round and go back down Oxford Street. From here, I'm going to get a left into Berwick Street, right Knoll Street and forward into Great Marlborough Street. And I go forward into Maddox Street, left St George Street to then get a right onto Conduit Street. That forwards into Bruton Street to get us around Berkeley Square. What I'm doing here is I'm just pulling the line down onto Piccadilly because you go straight through the Piccadilly underpass and out. But disaster strikes when I see that the exit for Berkeley Square that I need, Fitzmaurice Place, is closed. Now Fitzmaurice Place is actually like this weird little junction zebra crossing-y bit that you can get it from Charles Street, Mayfair. So as I come round, I'm just double checking that it's still open from that direction, which it is. So I'm going to get a left into Hill Street, left into Hayes Mews, then get the left into Charles Street, and then you can get that little right into Fitzmaurice Place. Bear that round into Curzon Street, left into Bolton Street, right Piccadilly, and that sets us up for the underpass. This is all pretty sweet from here. A little bit heavy at Knightsbridge, bear right Knightsbridge, past the barracks, forward Kensington Road, forward Kensington Gore, forward Kensington Road, forward Kensington High Street. And the lady just lets me know she wants to be dropped here. I use this as an opportunity to go down Allen Street and have a little bit of a debrief of how the day has gone so far.
Has quite honestly worked out beautifully. It is a beautiful day today. I was tempted to go back to Heathrow, but seeing on the way into town there was a lot of people on the Bayswater Road that looked like they were trying to look for cabs. There was a few hands that went up. I get hailed down. So it's feeling good. I'm going to knock out a few more jobs, definitely. I'm going to try head in the Brewery Road direction, but I think I'll catch it on my way home. I might as well do it now at the end of the shift. A bit of a shame really, because if I'd had the meter update, I probably would have earned about £15 more today, as rough kind of scratch pad maths. It's about a 7% increase. I imagine a Heathrow job might have gone up by like, I don't know, £6-7, maybe depending where you go in London, so. But some of this hype might have been caused by leftovers from the London Marathon. That was yesterday, Sunday, today's Monday. There's still a lot of people walking around with medals and obviously families, things like that are staying at hotels. They're going to be wanting to get in cab rides about as well. I feel confident I can go home soonish. It's now midday, it's 12 o'clock. What hours on shift? 6, left home 7 hours ago. But yeah, I could finish up soon.
I go for a little drive and with nothing on the Cromwell Road, I decide to rank at South Kensington. I joined South Kensington at just before 12:15. Nice opportunity to have a spot of lunch before getting a job just under 15 minutes later to the Ivy at Kensington. There's loads of different ways that we can run this, but I just think spin it round on Harrington Road, get a right into Queen's Gate, because that's just a nice quick flowy road, up and then get a left into Kensington Road, forward into Kensington High Street, do a U-turn there to drop her on the north side of Kensington High Street, and that there is the Ivy Kensington. I was hoping it would be a bit busier, but as midday came and went, my optimism soon wore off. A little bit of tiredness kicked in post-lunch, and the ranks were once again full. I drove in the direction of Brewery Road, hoping that I might get a fare before I get my meter changed, but alas, this didn't happen. So, 6 jobs, and I'm done. It's not quite my full daily take-ins, but I was up pretty early. Now let's celebrate with my meter finally turning blue. Yeah! If you've enjoyed this video, then you'll probably like the video where I went to Heathrow for a whole week. I learned so much about the system, and you can see my failures and successes across the whole week. That'll be there.